Good morning, it's Carol here. I've been on a hiatus, and the reason why I've been on hiatus is because I have really been contemplating whether I should continue with jujitsu or restart karate. Now, karate, I am a karate master here in Pittsburgh. I've been doing karate for about 13 or 14 years. I've actually kind of lost count. I think it's been 14. And it's in a Korean style hard martial art. And I'm actually a fourth degree black belt, which is considered in my art a master. And I have 2 more years to go uh, to test for my fifth degree, which will be important later on in the story. So I've been doing that for a few years. I was really interested in trying a ground art like jujitsu, so I started jujitsu, and I really think it's a very well-rounded way to think about martial arts. So I tried jujitsu for 3 months. I was hoping to do it an entire year. And I only joined for about 3 months just to see if I would like it or not like it. And I really liked it very much, except there were some things I didn't necessarily like about it. And let me preface by saying everyone at this studio I went to was amazing. The instructors were amazing. The partners I had were amazing. The facility was very, very nice. I loved everything about it. But there were some things that didn't make me want to stay for a year at this point, just at this point. And many of them, of course, were personal internal decisions. And you really have to weigh in all kind of different martial arts, which is best for you personally. And the only way you can find out, I think, is really by trying it. And you can't try a class. You have to try for, a decent amount of time. So, after my 3 months of jujitsu, here's some things that you may want to know about jujitsu and karate, but primarily this video is about jujitsu. So, one thing you may find is when you do jujitsu, you may be the only female in the class. And here's Cheeseburger being a ham and destroying my spotlight. But hi, Cheeseburger. Cheeseburger in the back here. So some of the items that you may find out is if you're female, then you may be the only female in the class. So be prepared for that. And the issue with being, for me personally, with being the only female in the class is I always had the impression that it's like, oh no, I have to roll with a female and I can't go as hard as I would with a guy, which can be true. Typically, females are smaller than male partners. So if you are the only female in the class, you may have to try to pick a male that's closer to your size. And so I always kind of felt bad for my partner if it was a male partner, that they're just kind of settling. And that may have been completely all in my head. That's fine, but that's just how the way I felt. So be prepared to be the only female in the class at times. And also be prepared to have that kind of feeling whenever people partner up. They've already had partners, and you may get into a gym where people have had the same partner for a while, that you may be the odd person out, and it may be that way for a while. But I had one instance where we partnered up, and there I was just kind of standing and having that flashback of being in gym class and playing kickball. I know that's old fashioned, but playing kickball and being like the last person picked. So expect that to happen. Your instructor will make sure you have a partner, and you may have to partner up with somebody that already has a partner, and you may have to switch off. But be prepared for feeling like, oh my gosh, nobody really wants to partner with me. And it's hard as a white belt. I'm not saying that any of this is easy. You just have to, if you are interested in jujitsu, these are just some things and feelings that you may want to have to, you know, work through basically. So that was kind of a tough feeling that I felt throughout jujitsu. And like I said, all my partners were wonderful. And I always had a partner. I always had a partner. It's just one thing you might find like, oh, okay, we're back to like middle school. So that's one thing. And especially being a white belt too, not everybody knows you. And then another thing that I had jujitsu, when you're practicing it on somebody and when someone is practicing it with you, can be very painful. You are choking people, you're practicing on choking people, and chokes can come in many various forms. And you also slam people on their backs. I mean, it is painful doing it to someone, and it is painful having it done to you. And the pain is very, I would say at the worst, it was moderate, maybe a pain level 5 out of 10. At the least, it was maybe, I don't know, a 1 or very comfortable. But be prepared, there is a pain component. So I was working with a partner, and then after we were done, my partner said, wow, you really hurt me this time. And I really was taken aback. And this is a philosophical thing for me, that I was hurting someone. And I know it's crazy to think of martial arts as, oh my gosh, well, you get into martial arts and you don't want to hurt anybody. Well, I'm at a middle age level, and I'm at a physical level where if I choose not to hurt someone, then that is what the philosophy that I wish to carry on. I'm at the age and the level that I don't want to hurt people. So it really changed the whole course of jujitsu for me, that I felt I wasn't quite ready philosophically to hurt someone. In karate, I generally speaking maintain enough of a distance that I don't physically, I don't have to hurt someone. And I have the technique, because I've been doing this for years. I developed a technique where I can use my force with control. Whereas in jujitsu, I was a white belt. I didn't have the control at that time. And that's not the reason why you continue to practice, is to start having control. But it's hard that first time as a white belt and you're unsure and someone tells you that you hurt them. I mean, that is a very difficult thing for me to even think about, that I was hurting people. So that is the reason, some of the reasons that you may think about, oh, jujitsu might not be quite right for you just yet. It was a financial issue why I decided to switch back to karate and put jujitsu on hiatus. Since I've been going to my karate studio for so long, I'm paying the prices basically that I did 14 years ago, which is about 2/3 less than what I paid in jujitsu. So the facilities aren't as great as my lovely jujitsu studio, but that was one of the reasons why I decided to go back to karate. And also that I am going to test for my 5th degree black belt, which is a significant undertaking. It takes about 16 years. And I would have pushed myself back basically a year to carry out jiu-jitsu. Then I would test in 3 years instead of 2 years for my 5th degree black belt. So I am back to Tang Soo-do Karate. Here's my patches here. I am back to Tang Soo-do Karate. It feels very comfortable. And the philosophy of being a female karate master and promoting my art is a very vital part of why I even continue to do this. And I greatly appreciate all the women out there in jiu-jitsu and that are perpetuating the art. And I hope through this channel, I have perpetuated and encouraged you to try martial arts, if not especially jujitsu. I think jujitsu is a great place to start for the right person. And I'm not saying that I'll never go back to jujitsu. I loved it. I love the art. I think it's a great place to start. I think it's a great place to grow. I think it's a great place to kind of knock that ego down a little bit. And the people are great. It's a very family atmosphere, and you'll get to know people like you like your best friend. They'll be your best friends after a year, or even less than that, after a couple weeks. So I had a really great time in that space, but I did feel compelled to go back to karate for the reasons I outlined. And plus, I'll be testing in basically 2 years for my 5th degree black belt. And I want to continue to perpetuate Tang Soo Do for women. There aren't a ton of women in Tang Soo Do either. And I felt it important for me to go back to that space at this time. So thank you for listening, and I will see you on the mat, and I'll also see you in the dojang or studio, and I'll be wearing my Tang Soo Do uniform, and you'll see me there. I'm so thankful again for taking 3 months of jujitsu. I loved it immensely. I will go back at some point, and it may be in 2 years after I have gotten and tested for my 5th degree black belt. And I will see you on the mat, and I'll see you in the studio, karate studio. And thanks for listening. Bye.